dive into it after a quick word from FanDuel. The NBA Finals are getting ready to tip off. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Bull forgot to mention it's also his birthday, so happy birthday.
Happy
Bull.
birthday,
Yes, happy birthday, Bull.
We're going to get to a little bit of that later
It's on
in the
my
show.
calendar.
Yeah,
We're gonna
thank you. Thank you. Mike, his tweet this morning said it's my 82nd birthday.
I laughed.
Which was funny.
I laughed.
That was funny.
And I promise we'll do some more birthday stuff later in the show.
Well,
Just wanted to wish you happy
remember
birthday.
mine this year? Maybe? Okay.
I think 50-50 shot.
Maybe. Might be able to get a birthday wish.
He was very upset
you guys-
this year.
I know.
You sons of bitches get birthdays. It's like a whole show's about
I know.
I wasn't even
unfair.
here. They just said nothing about mine. So
They don't care about us.
You former players, you
Don't
get
care
the
about us.
short
Sweet,
shrift.
it's cool.
So
All right, go ahead, Mike.
During the regular football season, we do headlines. We
Yes.
predict what the Monday headline following a Browns game would be. And after seeing all the coverage, all the talking points, the stats, the videos, the dissection of zip or no zip from the first open media session of OTAs, I thought it'd be fun to bring it back. And let's have a little headline fun predicting the main headline for the UCSS Times tomorrow after we get to witness and hear from the players and hear from the reporters who are out there, letting us know what they saw up close and personal from Shedeur, from Dillon, from Joe, and from Kenny. So, Bull, start us off. What is your
Don't show mine yet. Don't show mine
headline
yet.
prediction for the Browns'
Okay.
second open media session of
So,
OTAs?
for those who know, if you know, you know, G. Bush is the king
Oh yeah.
of the thumbnail headline.
Yeah.
The best in the business.
There's
at it.
nobody better. Certainly nobody better in Cleveland.
You tried to tap into your energy.
So
Bush?
I had to tap into my energy Bush here, and I believe I have nailed it. This is a G. Bush-esque headline right here. Let's go. National media sea change. Cowherd, Eisen, and Stephen A. all sold on Kenny Pickett reclamation project. Now, I don't really believe that, but I just thought it'd be funny to make Kenny Pickett. But
Why would you pick him, man?
I just thought it was funnier because it's Kenny Pickett. Is that a G. Bush special or what? You could see him coming up with that headline.
G. Bush loves, and G. Bush, like I said, does this better than anybody.
Yeah.
You won't believe what Colin Cowherd said. Colin Cowherd
Man, you won't
changes
believe
tune.
what Colin Cowherd said, man.
But okay, Bull.
Yeah.
That was yours.
Yeah.
We're gonna go around and hear all four of ours. Then
Right.
we'll discuss really what we think we'll be expecting today from OTAs. Dustin, This is your first time doing. No, Tyvis actually is up next. Tyvis is up next. Tyvis,
boy.
give us your headline.
I said something about Shedeur is going to shine, but there's Joe Flacco is the only one that everybody cares. Like, yeah, Shedeur shines, but there's only one Joe. Like, Joe is going to be head and shoulders better than everybody, but I think due to the fact that Shedeur kind of was the guy who didn't get the reps with the ones and all those things, they're going to put him out there with the ones so people can see him, and I think he's going to do really well. And national media is going to walk away and say, Shedeur Sanders should be between him and Joe as the starting quarterback. I think that's the type of message we'll get out of today's practice.
I think there's a lot of excitement for the fact that Shedeur is going to get to play with the ones today, because he didn't get that opportunity, at least in front of the media last week. And I think people read into that as if that was something negative, which obviously it was not.
I remember Jason saying, like, I think it was Jason. He said, like, Shedeur is clearly fourth on the depth chart because of how the reps was divvied up. And then he says that, and then they asked Kevin about it, and he says, no, Shedeur is going to take reps with the ones. We're going to rotate everybody. So I think due to the fact that he got that pushback, because I think, if I remember correct, Dillon, Kenny, and Joe all took one reps. I think now that the national media, or the media is going to be there today, the next narrative is, all right, everybody's going to be asking, where's Shedeur? Where's Shedeur? So this is a chance for them to put him in there and see what he does, and I think he's going to do really well.
And, obviously and ultimately, the depth chart in the first week of June is irrelevant.
It's
really
meaningless.
Yeah. Tell me the depth chart on September 12th or whatever.
The depth chart really starts to get made coming back from fall camp, once they hit them joint practices,
Yeah.
that's I keep telling her.
That's what it had some
The
meaning.
joint practice is everything.
Right.
Dustin, this
Do you
was
guys
your
like the
first
idea, real
chance.
quick, before you do Dustin's headline, do you guys like the idea, I don't know, because I can't remember if we've talked about this or not, as former players, do you like the idea of 2 joint practices? Is that a positive, or is it too much?
I think a little too much.
It's a
but
little, yeah. Because
really?
them joint practices
man,
get physical.
They take a lot out of you, man.
Yeah, it get physical.
and guys can get hurt. I just think it's asking a lot.
You guys have both done joint practices,
Yeah.
right?
I have.
But I only did it like once a year.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
That's what
Seattle,
most teams
Seattle,
do.
we didn't do it. San Fran, I did it. The Colts, we did it.
Yeah.
And it's very competitive.
And Dustin, what about you? Did you do it
We
all
did
teams
it-
or no?
No. In Minnesota, we did with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They came to us
Yeah.
up in Mankato. We did not in Philadelphia or Buffalo.
Okay.
We did not.
I guess different teams have different philosophies, but 2 seems like maybe
It's a
overkill.
lot.
I don't know.
It's a lot. I think that maybe this is their. I think they're looking at it like we're trying to get answers solved early in the season to see what is what.
Right.
They're not going to Greenbrier this year, so I think they're saving that competitive nature instead of trying to kill each other for 2 weeks in Greenbrier. Let's just try to kill the other teammates and other guys that's coming to town or stuff like that.
Not only are you doing 2 joint practices, one of them is against the defending champs.
Yeah,
So,
but they got chemistry with them though. Didn't they do a joint practice with them like 2 years ago?
I think
It wasn't last
was
year.
It,
With the
they've
Chiefs?
been at Greenbrier the last 2 years.
Oh, with the Eagles.
But
yeah,
they
yeah,
still
yeah,
won-
yeah,
they
did.
still
I
had a
think
joint
you're right. I
practice like
think
2
they
years
did do it
ago.
anyway.
Last year, I think it was the Vikings. Yeah, because that's
Right.
when Martin Emerson was going up against Justin Jefferson.
That's
and
right.
He
Yeah.
looked really good.
I had to catch
When we
myself.
thought he was gonna have a good year.
By the way, I just had to remind myself the Eagles won the title.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking Chiefs. I'm like, oh, they're
I was so
I'm like, oh,
conditioned
they're
with the
playing
Chiefs.
this
Yeah.
year?
No.
Like, oh.
No.
All right, Dustin.
Not only
your
did the
first
Chiefs not
chance-
win, but they got their ass kicked.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, domination. Dustin,
Yeah.
your first chance at headlines, and I think you did a pretty damn good job for a first stab.
Sanders appears poised for the prime time.
I like that.
That's appropriate.
Pretty
That's
dang
good use of words.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
I think. I mean, listen, he is, by all accounts. I mean, meaning people that have been there and seen him throw, thinks he looks like he's the better quarterback in terms of like just mechanics, in terms of playing the position more so than Dillon Gabriel. I mean, look, there's going to be hype around this guy. I trust Zach Jackson with football acumen as much as anybody. He sees this guy way more than you or I or anybody else. So I believe that when he says he has a chance, not this year, I don't think, to be like the main guy, but I do think he's going to eventually be a starting quarterback for the Browns at some point.
So you don't think he's going to start for them this year at all?
Not early. I think
not early. Yeah, sure.
Let me ask you this. Let's say that we hear all throughout OTAs that Shedeur's really good, and then you hear training camp and joint practices, Shedeur does really well, okay? And then the season comes around. Let's say they roll Joe, Dillon, and Shedeur. Will you be upset if Dillon goes out first?
What do you mean? Like if
Joe gets benched and
Yeah.
Dillon goes out before Shedeur, would you be upset by that?
I mean, if Shedeur outplays him,
Like,
all of
but I'm
training
saying,
camp-
like, all the media says that Shedeur is doing better than Dillon
Well-
Gabriel. But when the season came around and it was time to make that switch, they went with Dillon Gabriel before Shedeur.
Honestly, I'm going to kind of go with what Dustin said there. I want to know what Zach Jackson says, because everybody else had it wrong last year. Zach had it right. So if Zach's telling, which he has so far, that clearly Shedeur Sanders, and again, it's so early, things could change, but that clearly Shedeur looks like the better quarterback of the two, if that continues throughout training camp, and then Flacco gets off to a bad start or he gets hurt and they go to Gabriel at that point over Shedeur, that wouldn't make much sense. And I don't think they would do that. Why would you do that?
Because he was a third-round pick.
But who cares? If he was a first-round pick, maybe I could understand that. Maybe.
I was just asking you a
I mean, he was the
question.
90-something pick. It wasn't like.
So
I
you
still can't believe they drafted him ahead of Sanders.
It's mind-blowing.
but you wouldn't want to see him at some point this year?
Who, Dillon?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fine with seeing Dillon Gabriel
Yeah.
play. I still don't understand why the Browns decided, like, once they
You know
took
why?
Dillon Gabriel, why did you take Sanders?
Yeah. And if right. You
I mean,
wish-
I'm okay with taking a couple of quarterbacks. or
Well,
taking a quarterback
wait a
in the first round.
minute.
What's up?
You weren't you one of the ones that said the Browns should take multiple quarterbacks?
Yes, but you understand, Sanders was a fifth-round pick. Gabriel was third.
So
I mean, everyone feels like Sanders is
they're
going into
going into this draft.
They
Did
just put Gabriel in a bad spot.
They did.
Yes.
That's
They
what I'm
re-
saying.
Yes, they really
I
did.
am an advocate of taking multiple quarterbacks. I like that they did take multiple quarterbacks. I just think it's going to add more pressure on Gabriel, on the team, the organization,
No doubt,
coaches
yeah.
to make the right because there's going to be pressure, dude. Like we've seen this especially in Cleveland.
Yeah,
Dillon Gabriel to get cut and go to Tampa Bay and become a star.
Is
plus,
he going to grow?
Plus, there's additional pressure.
Baker?
Yeah, right. But plus, there's additional pressure.
Gabriel can't hold Baker's jock, bro.
wait. Dillon Gabriel, what, 5'11", 5'10"?
No, just as a
Just a
player.
player.
If
Oh,
you're going to
you're
be an
saying from
undersized
a-
player.
Oh, I got you.
Dude, if you're going to be an undersized player, you got to be a baller.
They say that he throw actually a nice ball.
Okay.
That's
We'll
what
see.
that's
We'll
what they
see.
say.
I hope it's great.
I mean, he was pretty
I'm not
good.
trying to
He was
denigrate
really
the
good
guy.
in college. Where did this man finish in the Heisman race? Like 5th?
Yeah, so good. He was a third round
I mean,
pick.
Tim Tebow won a Heisman, and he
Yeah.
was the worst quarterback I've ever seen in
He
the
won a
NFL.
playoff game.
and was drafted in the first round.
First round.
He won a playoff game.
That was
It
crazy.
was an amazing game.
That was the craziest game. Remember, he threw like a screen pass that went for 90 yards or
Yeah.
something.
Darius Thomas.
Thomas.
RIP.
R.I.P.
Man, go ahead, Mike.
Bull,
You have a
so I have
headline,
a headline
too.
that I know you'll appreciate. Maybe not everyone will appreciate, but Bull, you will appreciate
All right.
this. My
All right.
headline coming out of today's OTA session is QB Battle Brawl. Conflicting reports on QB stats lead to a media scrum on the sidelines. I'm not quite sure who's going to throw the first punch, but
Oh,
if ESPN
man.
Cleveland tracks something that's different than 92.3, which is different than what Jason Lloyd and Zach Jackson are tracking, I can see some punches being thrown today on the sidelines.
That's
boys.
funny. That is funny.
That would be interesting.
That is in
That'd
the
be
G.
very
Bush vein as
entertaining.
well.
That'd be entertaining.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see these stats because you would imagine ESPN Cleveland probably won't be the only ones doing that.
Oh,
this
no.
time. Everybody gonna be out
By the
there
way, wouldn't that be
tracking stats.
funny if that's how they determined who was the starting quarterback if the four of them got in the ring and had like a wrestling match and you had to throw the other guys.
Joe's the biggest by far.
Right.
But he's
So
old.
if you're the other three guys, do you start by teaming up to get Joe Flacco out of the ring, like you see in WrestleMania or something, or Royal Rumble?
Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Would you do that? You tag teaming, you throwing Joe out off the,
And then it's a free fall from there.
yeah, and then those three guys, they're all kind of the same size, I think.
I do have a
Kenny
question.
Pickett, do his miniature hands play a role in this? Is he able to grab anybody?
I do have a question for the two former NFL players here. This is the second open media session of OTAs. Do you think it'll be copy and paste of the same stuff that you saw in the first OTAs? Are they adding anything in? Obviously, the players and the rep schemes will change with the quarterbacks being at different groups, but is it basically the same practice again, or are they going to change up what you think we'll see?
No, I mean at this point you might see different plays because they should be further in their install, but outside of that, the format is the format. I mean, you're gonna have team run or team pass at the beginning. You're gonna go 7-on-7, or excuse me, let me start off. You're gonna go individual. Then you're gonna go team run or team pass. Then you're gonna do 7-on-7. Then you're gonna do either team run or team pass, which you didn't do.
You'll throw special teams
There
in
was some
there.
special teams in there, and then you're gonna finish with
Team drill or some sort.
team 11-on-11 drill, something like that. Either first and second down, third down, red zone, one of those things.
Well said. Every practice is basically the same format, and then in between all that stuff, different plays, different maybe situations that you would put the guys in. Could be maybe you're doing a 3rd and 7 drill, or a 3rd and short drill, or a red zone drill, or inside the 10-yard, like whatever it may be.
Yeah.
That's going to change from day to day because you're going to work on certain things.
Yep.
You may be working on blitz packages one day. Now you're not in full pads right now, so you're
Yeah,
not doing
so-
a ton of
correct.
contact drills right now. But yeah, I mean, I don't expect to see anything different on the field.
I don't.
I mean,
there's nothing much more to practice than what I just laid
especially
out.
this time of year.
And
It's diet
if there's no
vanilla.
pads on either, so it's not like they're going goal line or anything
Right.
like that. Like that'd be kind of pointless. So yeah.
You talked about pressure before.
Yep.
There's inherent pressure when you're a rookie. Being a Browns quarterback is pressure because almost every Browns quarterback has failed. But there's another level of pressure for the Browns and these players is that the Browns could be in a position to draft a quarterback again next year, and they are going to have to, on some level, make decisions about Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel this year by next year's draft, and maybe they don't even play, or maybe they only play 3 games or 4 games, or maybe one of them plays. I don't know.
That's not a big enough sample size.
Well, but you're going to have to. But here's the thing: like let's say the Browns end up with the 5th and the 10th pick in next year's draft, and there's 2 really good quarterbacks and the team that finishes second doesn't need a quarterback, and you have a chance to trade up, and you believe there's 2 elite quarterbacks. Do you do it no matter what? Or what if one of these guys has shown you he could be really good, but you're not sure? What do you do?
That's why you use this season to find that out.
Right, but let's say we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I know we all think this is unlikely. Well, maybe you think this is unlikely.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
But let's say Joe Flacco starts,
Uh-huh.
and the defense is fantastic, and the running game is fantastic, and they do enough in the passing game.
This is what's going to happen.
And the Browns shock us, and they're a playoff contender, or at least a borderline.
They in the hunt.
They're in the hunt.
Okay.
But legitimately,
So
they're not like
so 8-9.
Let's say they're 7-7. Well, we'd have to make a decision earlier than that.
Okay.
Let's say they're 5-3 to start the season, and Joe Flacco's playing great and he's healthy.
Roll it.
Do you
I'm rolling it.
even knowing that realistically you're not winning a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco?
Roll it.
What do you do? You say roll it. What do you say?
You roll it.
Is that
You
because
owe it to
the other
53 guys.
players?
Yeah. You can't just say, all right, we got to see what we got with the young guy. No.
Now the Browns.
Now Shedeur is lighting it up in practice. Maybe a couple of times in the game, I'll give you take a series.
Yeah.
I'll give you a series. Maybe that. But if Joe's on fire and they're killing it, I can't not.
Now, if that unlikely scenario happens, the Browns won't be drafting high enough to get a quarterback anyway.
Yeah,
but
maybe maybe Jacksonville stinks.
maybe Jacksonville stinks. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be that bad. I mean, Jacksonville's probably like competitive.
They're gonna be
Maybe not great.
like the
I don't
10th seed, number 10th pick.
know. I could see them being anywhere from 10 to like one of the last playoff teams.
Well, you never know. Injuries is part of the game.
It certainly is.
All it
But
take
you
is
guys would
one.
both, because if you're Joel Bitonio, if you're Myles Garrett, you may love Shedeur Sanders in his future. You may love Dillon Gabriel in his future. But if Joe Flacco, a guy who has won a Super Bowl, even though he's 40, if he's playing well and the offense is cooking
Gotta roll
and the defense is kicking ass,
You got to roll it. You can't change it.
You're
But remember-
1,000% rolling it.
very famously, and Dustin, this is a iconic year in the Bull and Fox history, in my
Yeah.
opinion. The Browns, Brian Hoyer was playing well. Now, he started to tail off, to be fair. He did start tailing off. And like with Flacco, probably even more so, we knew the Browns weren't going to win a Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
But they were playing really well. And I remember after that night game against the Bengals, they won, and I declared
Sanders.
Browns. Oh, Deion said they should pay Hoyer. You thought
Pay
they
the
should
man.
pay Hoyer. It was a whole conversation. I declared the
pulled-
Browns are going to the playoffs.
They pulled the Jameis Winston.
They got him right the hell out of there.
No, I'm saying after one game, they was paid a man.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was more than one game because he had
Okay.
played well for half a season. And out, Johnny Manziel in. Now, that's an extreme circumstance because Johnny Manziel's an all-time clown and was not prepared to play.
Well, he was a first-round pick, and they was going to,
But the coaching staff didn't want him to play.
yeah, true. But he was a first-round pick, though.
Dude, they were. I'm looking at it. This is 2014.
Yeah.
The Browns were
7-5.
6-3.
Right,
After
right,
they beat the Bengals, they lose
Right.
to the Texans the next week.
Then they won again, 7-4.
Then they beat the Falcons.
Right.
They're 7-4. Then they lose to the Bills. Manziel played in that game.
Yep.
Remember, he's in the end zone dead.
That's right.
Remember
Yes.
Yeah,
And he started against the Bengals.
Worst start
Maybe
ever.
one of the worst quarterback performances we've ever seen. They
lost
got boat raced.
30-0.
And the Bengals
They got
wanted
blanked.
to humiliate Johnny Manziel. And teams wanted to humiliate him. But,
They
whatever.
lost to the Panthers, then
Yeah.
the Ravens. So they lost after the Falcons. They lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row
5 in a row
because they went to Manziel.
because they went to Manziel. Now,
Wait,
would they
Manziel
have-
played the rest of the season?
Yes. Did he get hurt again?
He may have got hurt.
I
forget.
can't remember.
After that Bengals game, it was I sort of.
You knew the season was over.
Yeah.
It went from the playoffs to season's over.
I've never been. I was at the game in person.
Yeah.
I've never watched a player be like just overmatched at any sport in my life.
It was like seeing.
I felt bad for him.
That was like a.
That's what you should have thought.
That was like when one
That's
of the
how much
elite.
tape he watched.
0.
That's like when one of the elite high school football programs in Ohio plays, some school that has
Division
no
6,
chance.
whatever.
That's what it looked like.
It's like IMG playing Bishop Gorman.
Bishop Gorman.
No,
yeah.
it was like IMG playing Bishop Sycamore.
Or no, excuse
Oh,
me,
that's Bishop Sycamore. Yeah.
I said
Bishop
the wrong-
Sycamore.
Bishop
That's what I was
Sycamore.
thinking you were saying too.
That's what I thought I
Right.
said.
That's what it was like. But anyway, so you never know. But you
Bishop
guys
Gorman's
would stick
good.
with him. I would in that scenario too. Again, it's not an overly likely scenario, but if it does happen, then we may not find out about either guy. We'll see.